Yeah,
Good
all
morning.
good.
Rob Woodgate here with the Famil Club, having a lovely early morning chat with Mabel Lam, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. Mabel, how are you?
Hello. Thank you, Robert, for giving me this opportunity to chat. Yes, my name is Mabel. Hi, everyone. I have around 4 years event experience, both in overseas and in Australia. I manage an event planning and also productions. So including but not limited to managing conferencing, network event, gala dinner, and charity run and walk. I have 4 years didn't do event industry that because at the time I had to take care of my mom. But after 3 years, she passed away. And then I realized that I need to do something in my passion. And I always remember my mom said, you need to do what you love. So I love events. So I'm electrical connector. I like networking. I like to, especially witnessing how event from the concept and then during the execution, and really also want to see how event bring the positive outcome and revenue to back to the industry. So this is why I really want, and then I think it's more suitable for my character as well. During downtime, I think everyone experienced the same time. A lot of time spending at home. So I decided to grow my network. And also one of my friends, they recommend me like, you can set up this kind of conversation, interview to get to know what's happening in the world, what people personally or industry, how they face this pandemic. And then also take the opportunity, that's why I take the opportunity to connect some key person in the different industry, and then try to build up the relation and then to have a chat with them. So thank you, Robert, to accept this. And then in the meanwhile, I also want to this conversation, I can demonstrate my support and care to the connection that I've been connected. And I'm so excited to also connect my previous workmate, friend from Hong Kong and overseas, which is maybe last time face-to-face time is about 2 months up to 13 years. So so this is why bring me here. And then just starting with this kind of little chat, may I ask Robert, like I have to do a little bit research on you. So I know that you've been engaged in event marketing industry for over a long time, over 35-year experience. Could you please just tell me more about what you're actually doing and what motivation to bring you this profession?
I think it's like life, to be honest. You start off in the sales industry, selling finance as I did, then houses, then I moved on to insurance, and then ended up working with a publisher. And before I knew it, I was selling conference space for Ansett. And then, of course, learnt about functions and events. And then at the beginning of this century, we had this new thing called an email. And so we decided to chase that part of the industry, doing email marketing and Famil tours, which was quite unique. And at that time, of course, Ansett had just about died, and the industry was going through a lot of change. And so everything evolves. And this is just another hiccup in the road, so to speak, that we're going to have to get over. It's a pretty big road hump at the moment for most people, but the fact of life is we'll all survive, we'll get through it, and we'll just find ways to get around it and adapt with it to find a new way of utilizing the tools that we've got. And I've seen it already with all of the online conferencing, the Zoom interviews that we do now, the opportunities for people to travel less, but meet more people during the course of a day's work, to put together training online to put together bigger events and functions. And I see in the future there will be trade events, and instead of having a little breakout room, there'll actually be stands. There'll be lots of things in the future that we can see evolving, and things we haven't even thought of will happen in the next 2-3 years. So how the event space will be in the future, nobody really knows. We just know it's going to evolve very, very quickly.
Yep.
So tell me, what is it that you do and you can offer the 23,000 meeting and event planners and the thousands of venues in Australia that are interested in talking to event planners?
I think I really love to. I'm still actually working with Cystic Fibrosis Community Care as in fundraising event coordinator. But during the pandemic, my contract will be finished. I'm looking explore the next career opportunity. But I guess you need to, especially in this moment, I think you need to self-care, like how to maintain your physical, mentally, and also engage with people, because you, especially event, you really need to networking and then bring all your experience and all your skill and all your assessment like back to the industry to help each other. I guess in the meanwhile, that's why I initiate, demonstrate I'm self-motivated person that I can set up a project to actually use. I remember when people say that, like, you don't want to waste a crisis. So even though this is really probably a lot of people not really happy, and then, but we can always see things differently. Try to use the time, how to set up the routine. I'm really appreciate that I've been talking so far about 20 people. They all give me some insight. Firstly, I enjoy talking, but then I really like the idea they gave me as well.
And I was going to ask you a simple question. Have you noticed how positive everybody is, considering most people are out of work, they're confined, isolated, they're missing their friends and family, but everybody seems so positive. You don't meet too many misery guts.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then I think people really generous and then sharing their love and support. Yes, I think this technology actually always around us, but we don't really take advantage for that until everyone experience the same thing at the moment. We spend a lot of time, and then it's the pride time that it's a good time that even though we have limited our movement in the house, but then you can build up your relationship with your family. And also, even like you talked to me this morning, you talked to your sister, right? Like in overseas. I talked to my cousin. I haven't been face to face with her 13 years, but because of this, I set up a meeting with all my relatives, and then we connected some information. Yes, I'm agree. People demonstrate a lot of ability and resilience in this information and in this part-time, and people outreach and provide a lot of webinar. I actually attend a lot of webinar. I can see that the way that the people communication, definitely will not go back to the new normal, I was thinking, because things happen. But in terms of event, I'm happy that you already covered a little bit for the event in the future. Yeah, I was thinking also, maybe face-to-face is important, especially event experience events. But then I think maybe another way for connected people, even have destination far away, maybe on the same time you got online, but then you also got a break up room with different people. And then I also talked to my friend in artistic way in China. They actually have a virtual gallery to allow people to visit to see the artwork virtually. You don't need to go to in this moment. But then this pandemic is quite positive way, is actually pushing people fast forward to get used to this technology and getting closer. Yeah. So this is what the positive side I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yes, I was watching one of the home shows on the weekend, and they were saying that auctions, of course, nobody's coming to the auctions at the front step, but now they're appearing online, and they're getting hundreds of people because they know that they're not obligated to travel there, and they feel quite safe because if they don't vote, they're not going to be embarrassed. Yes, so it was interesting to hear how things are improving on that side of the market. You mentioned an art show, and I was watching in England. They've opened up one of the major auction houses. I forgot which one, but they decided, yeah, they don't need a crowd in the auction room. Everybody can vote online.
Yeah, it's so amazing to see people how creative to change the business model to suitable for the environment. Like the restaurant cannot sitting down, but then they do a lot of delivery. But also, I was thinking, I talked to some people doing food and beverage as well, and they actually thinking industry maybe fade down a little bit. Like maybe people don't have it hesitated to invest in big restaurant. Maybe similar, a lot of big place maybe had to reconsider before they invest. But I think you are really event industry expert. What kind of strategy that you can recommend us like to deal with this situation and to preparing the big change?
I think it's a bit too early to pigeonhole anything. I think we have to be open-minded and flexible. A good analogy is you've got an elastic tape measure and try measuring a jellyfish. Yeah, nobody really knows where we're up to. I think that in the future, we will learn to be far more adaptable because things will change rapidly. We just won't have fixed guidelines like we've had in the past.
Yep.
It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Now tell me, is there anything you want to say to all of those lovely people, the viewers that hopefully tune in and watch these videos?
Yeah, so thank you for this opportunity to get to introduce myself. Yes, actually at the moment, I want to explore more. Actually, I like this little project, and because it's led me to grow my network. So if anyone interested to be in part of that, because I was thinking to produce some insights after this, the people that I'm talking to. So definitely share. So I can give, I'm approachable. You can add me. I actually build up my level in LinkedIn. So please add me to LinkedIn and then we can communication, or you can send me an email. I can give my email to Robert later. But also exploring more corporate event that I'm interested with opportunity coming. I could like to talk with Robert. We have someone that is related. I'm happy to talk to those persons as well.
And the good news is once we pop this video up onto our website, there will be a link if they click on the video that'll take them straight to either your email or your website. So thanks again for being part of this, and we'll talk very, very soon.